Welcome to the Lights Lounge, your weekly home for all things Las Vegas Lights FC. As always, we're here every single week throughout the 2026 season for a deeper dive into everything that happens on the pitch and off the pitch, including match previews and analysis alongside a new guest every single episode. Hit the like and subscribe buttons on YouTube. Turn on those reminders so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming episodes. Our guest today is winger Ben Mines. We've got him in the lounge here. Ben, welcome to the Lights Lounge.
Thanks for having me.
Excited to have you in here. We spent most of the last episode with Nate Jones nerding out about movies, and you've showed up ready in a Jurassic Park t-shirt, Star Wars tattoo, Lord of the Rings tattoo on the forearm, everything going. Nate says you're a big nerd. Would you call yourself a big nerd?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
You got me.
Are you and Nate, like who are the other big nerds on the team that you're talking about this stuff with?
I'd say like me and Nate talk about it a lot, like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And then me and Jared will just throw references at each other,
Okay.
just back and forth. And then he'll throw something out there and be like,
Yeah,
point at me.
You've just got movie quotes on lock for
oh,
everything.
yeah. The other guys is frequently quoted between the two of us.
Okay, nice. What are the things, you've got a Lord of the Rings tattoo, you've got a Star Wars tattoo. What are the things that live rent free in your head? Like, what are the franchises that you're all about?
I mean, obviously those are the two big ones. Harry Potter. I feel like I kind of go back and forth because I'm firmly in the boat that Lord of the Rings is better than Harry Potter, but I get a
Okay.
lot of stick for that because I'd say there's a lot more Harry Potter fans out there in the
Yeah.
in the.
I mean, I guess the
normal-
question is whether we're talking about the movies or the books, right?
I would have both.
You'd have
above.
both above. I mean, come on. Like, yeah, Harry Potter is great, and I loved reading it as a kid, but stacking the Harry Potter books up against the Lord of the Rings books is a little criminal.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, the Lord of the Rings books are adult books.
yeah.
You know, you really have to dig in for the first like 150 pages to like actually get into it.
Yeah, and Lord of the Rings, like, Tolkien is the father of fantasy and high fantasy. Like, Harry Potter wasn't reinventing a genre
Yeah.
like Lord of the Rings and like Tolkien was. So
I mean, you look at the two, a lot of similarities between the both of them, and one was written about 60 years before the other. So
yeah, I mean,
that being said,
to be fair, everyone's iterating on Tolkien, right? Like, because
Yeah.
he was such a godfather of all of this fantasy storytelling, right?
yeah,
So
and to be able to create a world like that just from scratch
right.
is just, I mean, it's so impressive. for me.
Yeah, I mean he's doing like stuff like with like word etymology, right? That's like he's really in the minutia in a way that just no one else I think ever has been. So
100%.
pretty amazing. And one movie is a Oscar winner, and the other isn't.
And
so,
it won like 9 or 10 as
yeah,
well.
absolutely. I guess the question is because they waited to give Lord of the Rings its Oscar until the trilogy finished. So are we going to get the same thing with Dune this year? Are you a Dune guy?
I was gonna say like I'm getting into the books now.
Okay.
Because I saw the first one and I was like, it's good. You know, it was a bit slower. And then the second one was just, I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, if you like Tolkien's writing and you like the like levels to it, you'll like Frank Herbert's Dune a lot. It gets weird later on, but like that first book is
I've heard that.
incredible. And you can watch you can read the first book on like so many different levels, like from a poli-sci perspective, from an environmental perspective. There's like so much going on and so many lenses that he's writing through that is really interesting. So
Yeah.
you got to dive into Dune more before the movie comes out later this year.
I really do. I got the books like end of last year, and I just haven't really gotten into them yet. But
Yeah.
before the last one comes out, I should probably
Yeah.
like
Okay.
bang those out.
Movies, books, TV shows, like what's the top ranked for you? Like what's the thing you're spending the most time with?
Probably TV shows.
Okay.
Me and my girlfriend try and find shows that we can just kind of put on at the end of the night, just kind of fall asleep to sometimes. But we're gonna start Fallout tonight.
Okay.
We've been talking about that, so
Yeah, I've been meaning to start that as well. What's your like one TV, if you can give audience like one TV show recommendation, what's your recommendation?
I would have said Game of Thrones,
Yeah,
but you got to stop at like the end of the 6th season
absolutely.
because I mean, 7 and 8 are just, yeah.
I have a hot take about Game of Thrones ending, actually.
Give it to me.
My hot take on the Game of Thrones ending is that the ending is correct but mishandled. it's the right plot point ending. But what made the first 6 seasons of Game of Thrones so great is the fact that they always spent enough time to make it believable. What's bad about the ending of Game of Thrones in the TV series is that it's rushed.
Yeah.
Not like I think the decisions they made are still good, but they just didn't sell them to us because they didn't spend enough time building to it. Like light spoiler, but like everything that happens with Daenerys, like it happens too fast to be believable, and that's the ultimate problem. Not like it's not sold to us. So I don't know. That's my Game of Thrones hot take. You can come at me for that. But
I agree with that to a certain extent. I think shortening the seasons in season 7 and especially season 8 with only 6 episodes.
Yeah,
you lose out so much time.
And that's what was special about it. Because it was such a believable world.
And anyone you tell to go watch Game of Thrones, they'll watch the first 4 episodes. They're like, this show sucks.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're like, hold on.
That's what's hard about the first book too. Similar to Lord of the Rings, you gotta slog through the opening bit because you're so lost. There's so many names. There's so many characters, and you gotta be ready to kind of buckle down and get through it in order to enjoy it later on. So, okay, what is your actual recommendation then? Not Game of Thrones.
For a TV show.
Yeah.
Probably Breaking Bad.
Okay. That's one that I flamed out of, actually.
Really?
I've watched the first 3 or 4 episodes and I couldn't get past that initial part, and I've never gotten back to it. So
I think you should.
Okay.
I actually haven't seen the Better Call Saul.
Oh, everyone raves about that.
Yeah.
So
I just haven't really, I don't know. I haven't gotten around to it.
Okay, yeah.
And
TV's hard. TV's hard for me, man. It's so much time. I just don't have enough time to get through everything. We were talking about that with Nate off after the podcast about anime.
Gosh, yeah.
There's I do like some good anime, but there's so many episodes and it takes so long. Like Gabe was telling us about one soccer anime. What's that called, Gabe? Captain Tsubasa, where they'll have 3 episodes about one shot on goal, and the guy's thinking about his family and what it means. I don't got time for that, man. I just don't have time for it. So movies, I've become more of a movie nerd recently because I just have more time for it,
Yeah, and you get you go straight shot through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I'm not a big anime guy, but when I have watched it, you'll watch 3 episodes and then you're like, oh, I should be I don't know, 20% through the season, and there's 46 episodes, and you're just I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe I'll get back to Breaking Bad at some point, and then we'll all get to Better Call Saul. But let's jump into some actual soccer and what people are here for. And let's talk about the El Paso game first. I want to dive into the El Paso game, dive into the Sacramento game coming up, and then we'll dive into your career and kind of figure out how you ended up sitting in this chair talking to me today. But first, let's talk El Paso. Another 3-2 road loss. Got to be frustrating at this point, right?
Yeah, I think. You let in 3 goals for the last 3 away games. It's definitely frustrating, and we all have a part to play in that.
Yeah.
We're all responsible for goals that let in. It's not just a few guys. It's it's the whole team that's helping defend. So
yeah.
I think we're kind of looking at that and saying, what can we tighten up? Especially, kind of beginning of halves. I think that's somewhere where we're struggling, and just, kind of being physically prepared to, get out there and grind out results, but also mentally, coming into games.
Yeah, you did get your first assist though. Were you shooting?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were shooting, weren't you?
I was touch out of my feet. Bang it top corner. Oh my gosh, one of the worst shots I've ever taken. But what is it? You don't shoot, you don't score. I didn't score, but we did, so that's good.
You celebrated it like you assisted it. You played it off really well because it hit the back of the net and you were all in, run into the corner. So.
Yeah, and I think when you let up a goal in the first 10 minutes, you kind of feel like you're on the back foot, and then you get one back, and it's such a mood lifter.
Yeah.
So sometimes all you need is a little bit of luck, but like when you get that luck, you really got to celebrate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, that's why you shoot at the far post in those scenarios. So that if you do drag it, like that's why Pinzon's crashing the back post. Like, you know, it's not completely accidental. Like you do kind of build that in, but yeah, hilarious.
Yeah, sure.
Sure. All that. It's got to be encouraging though, at least for you as an attacking player, that the team is scoring goals at a really consistent rate. Like you would expect scoring 2 goals on the road in 3 games that you're walking away with more than 0 points from those games. So obviously like the defensive stuff needs to be cleaned up and that's the real priority. But it's got to be encouraging that the attack is producing, at least on your side.
Yeah, I think so. And I think if you watch the game back, we did a lot of good things that we didn't get anything from. Sure. You know, we had a lot of good passages of play where, you know, we end up getting a corner out of it. And it's like, you know, on another day, you're right. Maybe we do come out of it with 3 points. But yeah, soccer, like the hardest thing in soccer is scoring goals, and we're doing that. So, you know, that's something to take a positive from. But yeah, I think everyone's coming out of that game thinking, you know, we can't concede this many goals.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also El Paso is going to be quite a good team in the Western Conference this year, especially attacking, like Ruby Rubin, Alex Mendez, Moreno on the wing. They've got a good team, and they're like they seem a difficult team to play.
Yeah, and I think you know, I know a lot of guys on the team, and you know, speaking to them afterwards, one of the biggest things for me is like their whole group is together, and I think we have that here, which is a good sign. But I think the best teams in the league are really close knit. Yeah. So I think they'll do really well, and you know, we'll see them again later in the season, and you know, we'll give something back to them.
Absolutely. Let's talk about Sacramento coming up. Got Sacramento Republic coming to town this Saturday, April 11th for Canines at Cashman night. You know, obviously, first off, what are your thoughts on Sacramento and what needs to be done this Saturday to get 3 points?
Yeah, I mean, like I just said, you know, when you talk about good teams in the USL from the past 4 or 5 years, absolutely, like they're one of those groups because, you know, it seems like they're all on the same page, all, you know, fighting for each other, and that's what good teams are in this league. So, you know, nothing's going to be easy on Saturday. And, you know, we got to be ready for that physically and mentally.
Yeah, they've got a lot of other players like yourself that have got a good bit of MLS experience. I mean, Mark Anthony Kay is running the midfield engine room there. And then they've just got like a really solid roster. Danny Vitiello in goal. Obviously, all of those things. How much are you guys in prep, like talking about individual players versus talking about the team versus focusing on yourselves? Just curious.
We talk about the opposition a decent bit.
Yeah.
You know, just this guy's got a decent bit about him, you know, how they're going to play, that kind of stuff. I think right now we're really focused on ourselves because it kind of feels like we're beating ourselves in some ways, which is frustrating. But, you know, if you're able to get that out, then you start playing better and the results start coming. So I think it's, you know, for us, it's about us right now.
Yeah, absolutely. If the Lights get 3 points on Saturday, it's because of what? Fill in the blank.
Can I give a long answer?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think, for us to win, we just have to buckle down.
Yeah.
And really grind out a win. Not many games in this league. I've been in this league for a long time. Not many games in this league come because, you know, you don't win them because you play great football and, you know, you're creating tons of chances and, you know, it all looks great. It all comes out great. So many games are just based off grit. And, you know, I think with such a new team with like a lot of new players, I think we're kind of still figuring that out. But that's really got to be the emphasis on Saturday is just grinding it out and getting our hands dirty.
Yeah, I think that's insightful, right? It's both this league and where this team is at right now. You just got to kind of find a way to get results. You know, some of these games on the road, like getting a draw out of those games, like it's like the Monterey Bay game at home. I don't think we played particularly fantastic against Monterey Bay at home, but you get the goal, Johnny converts the penalty. You hang on late. They get a couple chances late. Jared puts in a good performance, and you just kind of grind out a result. So I think that's particularly insightful, especially some of the away games in this league. You can play in some really unideal conditions that are not super amenable to like playing great football.
Yeah,
right.
100%. And I think along with that, I don't like excuses, but it's been tough with four games on the road to out of 5 to start the season.
Plus the DR trip before that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of build up, a lot of fatigue build up. We were talking about that with Nate, where he was like, "Yeah, man, I got so sick because I just think my body really shut down on me." And that travel is tough, especially in this league. Like you're not flying charter, you're flying commercial. It's like a travel day on either side of the game. You're staying in a hotel a lot. You're not at home. Like you can't really understate the effect that has, I think. So
yeah, and like you said, you go into some games where it's just conditions aren't ideal, and maybe the pitch isn't great, maybe it's 90 degrees out or whatever. Like it's never going to be easy. Yeah. So I don't think that's really played in our favor, but like you said, we got to find a way to win games and grind it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, now into the hard-hitting questions. It's Canines at Cashman on Saturday, so fans can bring their dogs. Are you a dog or cat person?
Yeah, my dog's coming.
Okay, amazing. What kind of dog do you have?
Technically, he's my girlfriend's dog. Not technically, he is my girlfriend's dog.
Sure.
But I've kind of, adopted him as well. But he's a German Shepherd. So he's... What's that? Oh, you do?
All right, we got support for the German Shepherds from Gabe back there. Yeah.
Let's go, Gabe. Absolute nut jobs.
What's his name?
Mamba.
Mamba. Amazing.
She's a big Lakers fan.
Oh, okay, nice.
So
Kobe reference.
After Kobe, which is, dude, we got all the shout outs in this room.
Amazing. Okay, so clearly a dog person. Favorite dog breed, German Shepherd, or because it's not your dog. So if you were getting a dog, what's your choice?
I mean, I grew up with golden retrievers.
Okay.
So, and whoever asked the question, Aaron said,
Aaron said you gave golden retriever energy, which I think is pretty accurate.
Yeah, I think
you were pretty hyped up about getting that though in the video.
Because I love them. Like, they're just happy to be there wherever they are. So
awesome.
I'd say golden retriever or German Shepherd is definitely up there.
How big is that German Shepherd?
He's 80 pounds. So he's not like big. Yeah. But he's an athlete.
He's got something about him.
Yeah, like I take him to the park and absolutely yeet the ball, and he's just sprinting after it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to it. Looking forward to hearing a lot of barks in the stadium as different sounds go off around the game entertainment. But join us this Saturday, Canines at Cashman, lightsfc.com/tickets. You don't need an extra ticket. Just have to fill out the waiver at the check-in table in front of the gates, bring your vaccination forms, all of those kinds of things. But it should be a good time with the guys on the field playing Sacramento on April 11th. So let's wrap that segment because I want to save some time and make sure that we get through this because we got to talk about your career, talk about why you're sitting in that chair today.
And like
you said before, you have a lot of stops, but your longest stop is obviously with Red Bulls because you came through that academy. Mm-hmm. So talk to me about how you ended up at the Red Bulls Academy and what that was like very early in your youth career.
Yeah, so Red Bull does a lot of like youth camps in like New York, New Jersey area growing up. So I did some of those and did well there, and they just asked me to come trial for, I think in the time it was a development academy. So they wanted me to try out for the DA team, and I did well, and I was in the academy for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Like from age 15, right, is when you joined?
I think I was like 13.
Oh, okay,
I was pretty
earlier.
young.
Okay.
And I started playing with Red Bull 2 when I was I just turned 16 when I made my debut. Mm-hmm. And played with Red Bull 2 for a couple years.
Yeah. How did that Red Bull philosophy influence how you developed as a player? Obviously, Red Bull's very famous for the high pressing style, a style that Devin Rinsing here likes a lot. How much did that influence how you developed as a player?
A lot.
Yeah.
Everything at Red Bull was about being on the front foot, having no fear of what's behind you, what's mm-hmm. going on. It was just, we're going, this is who we are, and we're sticking to that. and if we lose doing it, so be it.
Right.
So I think that was, that really built up a lot of character with the guys there. And especially developmentally wise, that's how you're going to want to play afterwards. For me, I might be kind of jumping the gun here, but when I went to Cincinnati, it was a big shock because, it was very, we build out of the back and, we were very patient, didn't really press high. And I was just like, what do I do?
Yeah. It must be a shock to the system coming from that because you've been trained to be high octane your entire life and just be forward. And you're a very direct player. You're a winger that likes to go in straight lines, likes to get at guys, likes to press. So that must be almost feel plodding, just so painfully slow.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've been on a couple teams since then who have, really like to go after teams.
Yeah.
And that's really how I like to play. I think, there's no point for me in playing football, sitting back, waiting for your opportunity. If you want to win a game, you want to go after it.
Right.
And I want to beat the other team knowing that I deserved it.
Mm-hmm.
So
early on, you made your debut as a 16-year-old in 2016 because the second teams were playing in USL at that time. So for New York Rebels too, you made your debut in this league at 16 years old. The next year, you just turned 17 and you scored your first professional goal. Do you remember that goal?
Was with Red Bull 2?
Yeah, with Red Bull 2.
Against Ottawa?
Yeah. 2017. I think you just turned 2017. I had the video here. Do you want to watch it?
Yeah, it's a little flick on
little
header.
Flick on header. Yeah. If it'll load.
I forgot about the old streams.
Nice. I mean, completely unmarked. We
I
got
don't know how
we
they
got to
lost.
ask questions of the Ottawa defense here on this one, but
I'm not exactly the tallest guy in the box though, so I'm sure they weren't exactly too worried about me.
I mean, you're 17 years old at that time though, and score your first professional goal. You hadn't had that many appearances for the second team at that time. Do you remember that being a big deal, scoring that first goal? What do you remember from that time?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that game a lot actually, because it was really the first time I'd played more than just kind of coming on for 15, 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. I think in that game I probably played 60. And I was really able to get into get into your flow state, right? I think if you're coming on as a sub, sometimes it's tough to find the game and, it takes you 10 minutes to get into it. And by then the game's over.
Yeah.
But, when you're in the thick of things for, a good 30, 45 minutes, you can really, find yourself and find your game. So I think that was the first time I really felt like I was a pro, even though, I was still an academy guy. But I felt like I was really making a difference on the field.
Yeah, there's definitely a difference to sitting on the bench as an academy kid and maybe they throw you on at the end of the game, you're winning 3-0 and it's here's 5 minutes.
Here's a bone.
Yeah, versus I'm starting. I know I'm starting as of Thursday and now I'm preparing for the game like a true pro. That has a little bit of a shift in your career, I think.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's actually funny because I was not supposed to be in the roster that game.
Oh.
We had an injury on Friday, and they were just all right, we'll throw him in there. And then the guy who started got hurt 30 minutes in, so they were just throw him out there. And
interesting.
Yeah, so it really shouldn't even come about.
Wow, fascinating.
But yeah, I think we actually lost that game 4-3 as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. You scored to make it 3-2.
Yeah,
and then you guys screwed it up.
Yeah.
So then I want to ask about another goal, which is the following year in 2018. You end up starting the first game of the year in Major League Soccer with the first team proper. Mm-hmm. And you scored 18 minutes in. Do you remember this goal? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah. What was that like?
Oh, it was incredible. I had a good preseason up until that point. And we were... some stipulation. We were rotating for CONCACAF Champions League, so it was kind of the second group thrown out into the first game because I think we were playing Tijuana midweek, and they just they kind of just threw me out there of the coach was Jesse Marsh at the time, and he had a lot of faith in younger guys. And he also really didn't have any fear of like, you know, if he goes out there and doesn't play well, like what does that do to him?
Yeah.
He's just kind of like, go out there, play, like I don't
See
care.
what happens.
Yeah. So you could really feel that. And like going into that game, I was really nervous going into it, but then, you know, once I stepped out there, I was just, you know, everything just kind of fell into place. And the goal itself, you know, it's
a good goal.
It's a tap-in, you know.
Yeah, but like the goal itself is good from the team. We got it here as well.
I think Derek flicks it on or something like
Yeah,
that.
Derek flicks it on. Nice little layoff, and then you just arrive on the back post. You ran the wrong way, though.
Well,
everyone ran this way, and you ran this way.
I never got
Hyped
that,
up, though.
Right? Like, when someone scores a goal, like, whatever way they go is probably the right way.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like, this is Kaku. Kaku is, like, he was, like, our big signing.
Yeah.
And he's an unbelievable player. So I probably should have just run to him, but I wanted my moment too. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but you just ran opposite ways, which I thought was pretty hilarious. So, so obviously you guys rotated. I don't think you got another appearance that year, which tends to be how it goes for like 17-year-olds with an MLS team. You might get the game, but it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, congratulations, now you're a first team player, I'm going to play. How did the rest of that year play out for you?
It was an interesting year because I was on the bench a lot for the first team. So I think I kind of missed out on, you know, those minutes playing for the second team, which, you know, a lot of people talk about is like essential for growth. And it's different, you know, like sometimes I'd go down and play with Red Bull too. It's different when you're on the bench on a Saturday and then going and playing for Red Bull 2 on a Sunday. And it's just like, you know, it's not that you don't want to be there, but it's just like you kind of just feel like, wow, I didn't play yesterday. That kind of stinks. So
it's gonna be hard too because you're going from like sitting on the bench in an MLS environment and you get that adrenaline hit. Yeah. Because it's like the crowd is incredible and the in-stadium production is incredible, and then you like show up to basically the park on Sunday and there's like 50 people there, and it's like it's got to be hard to like get yourself up for that. As much as you always want to say like, no, I'm a professional, I approach everything the same. You just don't get that same adrenaline hit, and that's got to be like a stark dichotomy that can be hard to deal with as a young player.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird feeling.
Yeah.
Like going, like, because Red Bull 2, obviously, like, you're not getting many fans. So you're kind of just playing in empty stadium, and it's kind of just feels like not a training match, but like, it's sometimes it's tough to get yourself up for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was interesting. And then, I mean, the team was incredible that year. Like, we went on a win streak of like 10 games, and it was like, you know, I couldn't really crack it and like get on the field, but you know, you still kind of felt like you were still part of it.
Yeah, you're still on the road trip, you're still like part of the group on some stuff, and that can be a lot of fun. Who was on the team at that time?
Tyler Adams was, I mean, was probably the best player I've ever played with. Like,
okay, I was going to ask because you played with a lot of guys. Like, you know, you mentioned Kaku, Bradley Wright Phillips, I think you played with at one point, Christian Caceres, Tyler Adams, Brian White, Daniel Royer, a lot of really good players.
Yeah, that team was like not sneakily because we had like 72 points that year, but there weren't a lot of like big name guys at the time. But you look at where they have been, or you know where they are now, and it's, you know, you're like, wow, because Brian was playing with me like with Red Bull 2, like, you know, and now he's scoring 20 goals a year for Vancouver.
Yeah, and in the World Cup conversation, on the fringes of it, but on the in the conversation, especially with Ajumong getting hurt. So which.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, I mean, you got like Michael Murillo here, who's like now at Besiktas and was at Olympique Marseille before that. Like, obviously Tyler Adams. Like, what made Tyler Adams the best player you've played with? Like, what was it about playing with him?
Yeah, he just picked up everything behind you. I mean, like, for one of the most athletic guys I've ever seen. Like, very, very fast, very quick, covered so much ground, and good on the ball as well. So. Like, if you had him behind you, like in training, I had no no doubt that my team was gonna either win on the day or do like really well.
Yeah.
Because you just knew he was behind you, with you, picking up whatever's left off, or like the pieces behind you.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was just so easy.
Yeah. That's what makes a lot of those MLS teams, like that was a great Red Bull team that you were a part of. And that's what makes a lot of them great, is that they, because of MLS roster rules, because you can't just spend all the money, you've got to have someone like a Tyler Adams that's a cheap player.
Yeah.
Right. Like that, you've got to have your academy producing players. You got to find like bargains in that way. Because now Tyler Adams, if he came back to MLS, would be like uber expensive, right? But like that Red Bull team got Tyler Adams like as a non-DP,
$100,000 a year, yeah.
Right? And then you can like build all around him, and you end up with this stacked team that gets 72 points in the year, which is really interesting.
Yeah,
so.
It's kind of funny though, because like, I mean, I don't really want to talk numbers, but like Bradley Wright Phillips is like one of the best strikers in like MLS history, and was still like a cheap striker for in terms of DPs. And that's another player that just made it so easy to play with. Like wherever I was putting the ball, like he was. It was almost just like he knew where I was gonna play it, so he reacted accordingly before I even played it. And he's like some of those instincts are just incredible.
Yeah, Bradley Wright Phillips is a great striker. Like if you're a young striker and you're like learning how to be a striker, like the real fundamentals of runs and spaces in the box and where to arrive and when to arrive, like just go watch Bradley Wright Phillips.
Yeah.
Like really, I think underrated in MLS history. Like his ability to arrive in the box at the right time is really underrated.
It's incredible. And I mean, he was the locker next to me as well. And he's also just such a good guy. I mean, you can kind of see it from the MLS stuff he does now. He's just great banter and just, you know, but also like, you know, like would, you know, kind of like get me into conversations with like with the other guys, where it's like, you know, sometimes you're the young guy and just like put your head down, don't say much. But, you know, he was like the complete opposite of that, just trying to, you know, get me to talk a little bit.
Yeah, that's fascinating. What was the biggest thing you learned during that time with Red Bull, as you're like bouncing back and forth between the first and the second team and trying to figure out where your career is going to go? Like, what's the biggest thing you picked up from that time?
Just learning how to grind and work. My second year, which I'm sure you probably saw, like I didn't play at all with the first team, and I wasn't really on the bench either. It was a rough year for me. I had a couple injuries, like my confidence was low, and you know, I kind of just figured out in that time, like no one's really coming to save you. Like you know, if you're having a bad time, it's, you know, it's a man's game. Like no one really has time to, you know, put their arm around you and be like, you know, it's okay. Like, you know, you'll get it eventually. And it's like, so going from, I think, off season of 19 into the 2020 season, that was like a big like learning experience for me, because, you know, I was training like every day for like 3 months straight going into preseason. And, you know, I ended up coming in flying, and the coaches were like, wow, like you really changed a lot here. And I'm like, well, I had to. Like, you know, you're not going to survive if you don't. And, you know, so that was definitely the biggest thing, right? Yeah. Like, and, you know, the way Red Bull plays as well is just grinding games out and, you know, really going at people. And, you know, that's really just who I am. You can kind of, you know, see it in my game here. Like you know, like to be on the front foot, like to go forward, and yeah.
So you were flying that off season, that preseason camp going into 2020, and then the pandemic screwed you, huh? Because the pandemic, like the pandemic hits, right? And like if you did have some good momentum during that time, that would have been maybe like a tough pill to take, to be like, I just had like a rough year. I've had a good off season. I feel like I've started to figure it out a little bit, and then the pandemic just like shuts everything down. What was your experience like with the Red Bull organization during that time?
It was, I mean, I feel like you don't really have time to sit there and feel sorry for yourself, you know?
Fair.
Because we went into the bubble. The MLS is back.
Yeah, and I was there too.
You were?
Yeah, I was there. I wasn't with the team. I was running meetups for the league. So like the little like pavilion on the side that only had like 5 or 10 media members, like in the like over in the corner.
Yeah.
I was running that, like the whole group stage.
No way.
Yeah. So I was there sweating my butt off. every morning in the Orlando humidity in July.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Setting up and tearing down that thing because there were like 3 rounds of games every single day.
Yeah.
So I'd run those things and then I'd tear them down. So I was outside of the bubble because those media members were the only ones that were like broke the bubble.
Okay.
So we were like really strict. Like we couldn't interact with anybody because we were outside the bubble. But yeah, that was a crazy time.
Yeah, it was.
What a crazy tournament to think back on.
It was such a weird, like, we played a game at like 11 at night.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what? I wasn't even playing, like, but I was like, what are we doing here, guys? I understand, like, you need to do that because it's just so hot. And like you said, the humidity. But I was like, I was falling asleep watching it.
Yeah. And it got to the point, too, where it got to be this weird tournament because you're in the bubble for so long. And it's kind of a made-up tournament.
Yeah.
So you get into those knockout rounds and, like, guys are like, I don't know if I actually want to win this game.
Because if we just want to go home.
Because if we lose this game, I could go home to my family. If we win this game, I got to stay here for another 4 days and just stay cooped up in my rooms. It became such a weird tournament. But
it was...
Did you guys go to the knockouts in that tournament?
No,
you didn't get out of the group stage.
We got bounced in the group stage.
Yeah.
We had Columbus and Cincy, and who else? Oh, and Atlanta. So we were actually in and out pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, not bad.
Yeah. And for me, like I didn't have like a family. I was staying at home with like my mom and my brother, but like
so you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah,
you don't got anything to get back to.
I was in a Disney World hotel like with a couple of my friends who also didn't have a family, so we were kind of just like hanging by the pool and just like just kind of having fun. Like to be honest, like we went golfing like 3 times there, and I was like, this is actually pretty nice.
Yeah, I kind of have an all expenses paid vacation right now, like in a time when those aren't really possible. So obviously that wrapped up, did the little sprint season, and then you got waived by Red Bulls at the end of the year. You got picked up by FC Cincinnati in the end of year waivers draft. Look, man, I'm an MLS nerd. I worked for Charlotte FC for 3.5 years, and I was a huge MLS fan before that. So I like know this league inside and out. And even I'm not totally sure what the end of year waivers draft is. What was that like for you as you got waived and you were like, what's my next step? But you got picked up in a weird draft. Like, how did that end up playing out?
I honestly had no clue what was going on because isn't there like 3 drafts? There's like
so weird.
There's a waiver draft and then like a re-entry draft and then something else.
I don't know what any of it means.
I mean, it's better now because there's more free agency with the league. But at that time, like no one was a free agent. So
it was so hard to qualify for free agency. You needed like so many years in the league, and it was like almost unrealistic to even reach free agency. But yeah.
I think you needed like 5 years in the league. Not even professional, in the league.
Yeah.
And then you had to be like 25 years old. And I remember like at the end of my time in Cincinnati, I still couldn't be a free agent. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But the waiver draft, I don't know what was really happening there. Like when basically, end of the year meeting with Red Bull, they were like, yeah, we're going to let you go. It was a big surprise to me.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was that a shock?
Yeah, it was. Because I actually finished that year doing really well. In training, and I think I had a couple appearances, goal and assist, and I was like, well, I should be here next year. I've grown up here, and then they kind of just laid that on me, and I told my agent, and he was like, oh, well, let's go find another club.
Yeah.
So we were, he was talking to a couple teams, and then since he picked me up in the waiver draft, and I was really happy about that because they hadn't done too well in the years prior, and kind of looked to change things up a little bit. Like Yapstown was the coach, like just an unbelievable resume as a player and as a coach behind him, and I was like, this is gonna be great. Like
good opportunity for you. Like you're not walking into an established team that already has like 3 wingers that you're behind in the depth chart. Like, okay, this is a team in flux. Like I've got an opportunity to earn and help turn this organization around kind of vibe. Yeah.
And then didn't happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was it like when you arrived? Like, did it just not work out? Like, was it just not a fit, or did injuries play a part? What happened?
I think, something like didn't work out, I guess. But I think, we weren't a great team at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, we probably only had like 20 points all season. It was not great.
Brutal.
And I was getting a little frustrated because, you know, like when you're losing that many games, it's kind of like, well, when do you decide to shake it up a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
And that never really happened. So that, you know, that was a bit frustrating. But, you know, there were a couple guys in front of me that were really good players, like Alvaro Barriel. He pretty much had that position on lock. And to be fair to him, he's a great player.
Yeah, he is.
Gets to play with Neymar now, so which is pretty nice.
Yeah.
But, yeah, you know, like sometimes football's like that where, you know, things just don't really work out for you or play in your favor.
Right. So you end up on that loan with Orange County. Were you pushing for that loan at the end of the year where you're like, I got to play, man? Or how did that work out?
Yeah, I was looking to go on loan earlier in that year, and they wanted to keep me around because we had guys leaving for Gold Cup, and I was like, this is going to be my shot.
Nope.
So then after those guys came back from Gold Cup, I was like, if I wasn't playing then,
I'm definitely not playing now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had a couple offers on loan. I think it came down to Oakland and Orange County, and it's kind of tough to turn down like Southern California sunshine.
Yeah, sure.
So I went there, and that was a great experience. I loved my time there.
You guys won a title.
Yeah.
I mean, you went from like the worst team, one of the worst teams in MLS history, and then you got to walk into Orange County. You made 11 appearances, 3 goals, made an immediate impact, and then won a title with them in a playoff run. Like,
it was a great 4 months.
Yeah. Can't ask for much better, like on a late season loan like that. Like, you know?
And a couple other guys on Cincinnati who I was friends with went on loan as well. Like one of them went to RGV.
Oh, cool.
And he said it was okay. Another went to Tulsa and was like, yeah, it was all right. And then, we win it at Orange County.
And you're like, I just won a title. I'm living in Southern California. How's it going for you guys?
Yeah. I mean, technically, that was my second title.
Because you won Supporter Shield with the Red Bulls?
I won USL with Red Bull, too.
Oh, you won USL with Red Bull,
I was only making, like, cameos, like, you know, just so guys could get standing ovations. But, like, but I have a medal, so I was like,
yeah, fair enough.
So that was that was an awesome experience.
Nice.
I think what made that experience special was the group, and I've always maintained that like great teams have great players and great people.
Yeah.
And that team, there was not one guy who I could say like he's not a good person. Everyone was hardworking, and actually when I got there, I think we were in like 7th place.
Yeah, you guys made a late charge up the table that year because they got really hot at the end of the year. So.
Yeah, I think we won the last 5 games going into the playoffs, and then
that's where you want to be in this system, in this like single elimination 4 games you can win a title. You just gotta get in.
Yeah,
it'd be nice to have some home games, but you just got to get in and be in form at the right time.
Yeah.
That's why you see so many 1 seeds in USL get knocked out early because they end up like kind of running out of steam.
Yeah.
Right.
Even
like,
in MLS too.
Yeah.
Like,
and MLS has a couple more like because of the 3-game series they do now and like or 2 legs in the history of it. There's like more advantages built in. But in the USL, there's like the only advantage is getting that home field. It's still just a one-off game.
Yeah.
And you can really get hit by variance on that. So or just by a hot team. And
we almost got hit by that variance because our first game of the playoffs, we got a red card like 20 minutes in.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And against Switchbacks, and I was like, it was
done.
0-0. I was like, we might not be making it out of this. Like I might be getting a flight home in a couple of days.
Yeah.
And Ronaldo Damas he just absolutely carried us that game. He was a menace. Managed to get a goal and then just kind of grind it out. And then, the next game, I think against Oakland, same thing, 0-0, just grinding it out. Next game,
2 penalty shootouts, semifinals, or no, quarterfinals and semifinals.
Yeah.
So, because those are the 2 games you subbed in for.
I think I started against Oakland. So
you started the first game. Yeah, okay, got it.
So I didn't take a pen in that game, but I took one against San Antonio.
Yeah.
I'd scored it in the last the last penalty I had taken was actually when I was with Red Bull 2 in 2017, we played Louisville in the conference final. And I was 17, and they were like, "Yeah, go take a pen." I was like, "All right, no, I missed." Keeper saved it, but like,
okay, yeah.
I was like, "Oh no!"
Oh
like,
man.
But I scored that one, so that was
okay.
comforting.
Would you just get the keeper go the wrong way, or?
I think you stood in the middle.
Oh, and you just.
And I was like,
it's like,
"What?
all right,
your decision."
Yeah, absolutely. And then you guys won that final over Tampa Bay 3-1. You were on the bench for that, but I mean, don't need an attacking winger or substitution off the bench when you're cruising to a 3-1 win in the final. So not the worst thing in the world. Aaron Guillen started that game for Tampa. You talked to him about that?
I haven't really. I mean,
keep that one. Just keep that one in the back pocket.
Yeah, I've mentioned it in passing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a tough one for them.
Yeah.
I mean, because they lost Evan Loro the game before. I don't know if you know.
Their goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then Raiko Rosarena actually started that, who was the goalkeeper here in Las Vegas for the previous 2 years.
Oh, okay.
Who's in New Mexico now. Yeah, so because when I was doing the research for the pod, I got like a jump scare. I was like, oh, Raiko. Like, I forgot that because he was the backup at Tampa at the time and ended up starting that final because of it. But yeah.
Yeah. So. Do you know how much could we joke around at this?
You can joke around as much as you want.
Okay, do you know how he tore his ACL?
No.
Evan Loro?
No.
He's doing the Ronaldo Sui celebration.
No way.
And after the game that they won against Louisville, because they came back in like the craziest fashion. Like two late goals, 2-0 down. Does the Sui and then just tore his ACL. It was like... So when
that makes me hurt so much inside.
Yeah.
That is so brutal.
It was such a tough way, because I played with Evan at Red Bull, and he's a friend of mine, and I was like, oh, that is awful.
Yeah. It's like never what you want to see, right? Like we mentioned earlier, like Patrick Ajimang, who I know from my time at Charlotte FC, so I've been like really excited to see him on the World Cup squad because it was looking like he was going to make it, and then like looks like a really bad Achilles injury, and he's been ruled out. It's just like you just don't want to see those moments. They suck so much. Yeah. It's like one of the crappiest things about sports is when those like brutal injuries happen.
Yeah,
but
that's tough. That one Patrick's tough. Like especially like the form he was in with. I think he had like 6 goals in like 14 games for.
He's at Derby County.
That's it.
Yeah, he scored 10 goals this year in the championship.
Yeah.
And like scored in the March friendlies for the U.S. just now. Really rough one. I was pretty upset about that.
Funny how it works though, because like with Evan, he ended up obviously like missing most of the next year, and I think he didn't have an option with Tampa. His contract was just done, so they were just like, "We're not going to pick you up." But funny enough, like he recovered from his ACL, and then when I was at Cincinnati, I was hurt. Like I broke my ankle that year. Spoilers.
Yeah. Coming
but
soon.
We had 2 or 3 keepers go down with injury, so he just walked in one day, and I was like, "What are you?" And he was like, "They're bringing me in, just because they need a keeper." And now he's playing a couple games with them, like always on the bench, and just in a really good spot. So it's fun. It's funny how those things like work out.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Right.
They don't always, but like it's nice to like kind of hear that when they do.
So going into the next year, you got loaned out at the beginning of the year this time around, which I assume you were pushing for, and went to Switchbacks in 2022, where you made 3 appearances and then broke your ankle. So that sucks.
Yeah, that was tough because especially I think that Colorado team that year was really good. It was Haji Berry, Michi Ngalina, Elvis Ammo, a really, really good front line. Yeah. And I felt like, I can get a bunch of goals and assists, especially the way they play as well as very high press, like go after teams. And I scored in the 3rd game, and then I was like, all right, like let's go. And then I think Wednesday at training just got tackled, and then it's tough.
That's just how it goes sometimes. So you got surgery. I assume you went back to Cincinnati, or did you stay with Colorado, or what?
No, I think I got hurt on Wednesday, and I got surgery on like Monday.
Okay.
Kind of perks of being
Yeah.
like playing for an MLS team.
Right. Yeah.
Like they were just able to get me in like that.
Yeah.
So and then I just did my rehab back in Cincinnati.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Just because they have like so much resources, so many
Absolutely.
resources.
Yeah.
That was actually when I most enjoyed my time there. Funny enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a lot of a lot of days where you're like, this is awful. Like,
Yeah.
Because spoiler again, I got cut at the end of the year.
Right.
But I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
So it's different when you're rehabbing to get back on the field, get playing. When you're rehabbing, knowing that as soon as you're able to play in a game, you're going to get cut. That's a tough feeling, especially for 6 months or 7 months. So I think that made it a lot more difficult, but like the people there were just incredible people.
Nice.
The training staff there, like PT I was working with, I still texting like to this day. And
when you have a major injury like that, you end up spending so much time with those people, and you end up forming like pretty good relationships when you spend that much time in the training room.
Yeah.
So
and it's funny because I barely talk to people on the team.
Yeah.
Like just because you're just in the training room the whole time, and like because you come in early and then basically get dressed on your own, and then you're in the training room for the rest of the day and miss all the guys. So that was tough, but I made it through.
Right. So they cut you at the end of the year, which is where your USL journey well and truly starts, not on loan, like as a permanent transfer. Just talk me through that off season, because you end up at Miami FC. So how did that all happen?
Yeah, I think like that was a nerve-wracking off season because no one really wants to touch a guy who hasn't played a game in 9 months.
It's a tough sell. Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot of offers, and then Miami came in and wanted to sign me, and I was like, let's do it.
Right.
So yeah, I went down there, and that was an interesting experience. The club, I think Anthony Pulis was a great coach. The club is decent. I think the city was more of a shock to me.
Oh, interesting.
Because I had never really lived in a city like that. I had, up from that point, I had been in New Jersey. I grew up in Connecticut, Cincinnati, Orange County, and then Colorado Springs, and then you get down to Miami, and no one speaks English, and I don't speak a lick of Spanish. So that was definitely like a culture shock to me.
Fascinating.
And I think that was it was fun.
It gave you a pathway to playing a lot of games, getting back in. I'm sure there was a journey to like getting. There's one thing to be like cleared and recovered from a major surgery like that. Mm-hmm. There's another thing to like feel like yourself again. And sometimes you just need a platform to feel like yourself again. Which seems like maybe Miami was that. I don't know. Talk me through it.
I don't really. I think that's a great point.
Yeah.
I think what was really tough of getting to feel like myself again was I kept like getting muscle injuries. So I had I think I had a hamstring injury. I sprained my ankle, and then I had a quad injury at the end of the season. So it that kind of throws a wrench in things, right? Yeah. And then, when you're hurt, beginning and end of the season, the middle is the hardest part.
Yeah.
So you're trying to grind out, get in the team, make a difference, and something you can do that, but sometimes it just doesn't fall your way.
Yeah.
So that kind of made it tough, and Ant left kind of halfway through the season.
Mm-hmm. Coaching changes, that's always tough as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've had a couple of those.
Yeah.
But I'd say I didn't really feel like myself that year because I was coming off my ankle, and then a lot of muscle injuries. So that you never really get to 100%.
Yeah, those are really frustrating. Yeah. We're running close to time, so let's speed run to the next stop. You get traded at the beginning of the next year.
Going, yeah.
Yeah, let's go through the stops here. You end up at Indy 11. Really interestingly, actually, you get traded in a double player swap trade, which is not something that you see very often. Just like one like straight player swap trades are like relatively rare in soccer, and to do like a double player swap is interesting. And to add another layer to it, you got traded with Ben Ofemu, who's now obviously on the roster here as well, and we'll have him on the pod later this year. How did that trade go down?
I mean, both of us weren't really playing in Miami at the time.
Okay.
And I think we were 5 games in. We had an away game in Hartford, and I get back, like, we literally land, and my agent calls me, and he's like, do you want to go to Indy? And I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
And he was like, I was like, can I talk it over with, like, my girlfriend and everything? And he's like, yeah, you can, but we kind of need a decision, like, within, like, an hour or two.
Rough.
And then called my girlfriend. She wasn't even answering me. So I was just like, screw it. Like, yeah, let's go. And then Ben gives me a call literally, like, couple minutes after, and he's just like, are you getting traded to Indy? And I was like, yeah, like, how did you know? And he's like, I'm getting traded too. So we kind of just packed up and left in a couple days.
Wow.
And then we ended up living together as well. So we're like that.
Back to a non-Spanish speaking city, really making a tour of all of the white cities across the U.S.
Oh my gosh,
Indianapolis. What was in? I mean, you made 25 appearances for Indy 11 that year. So again, like lots of good reps and continuing to make that journey. What was your quick experience with Indy 11 like?
I'd say that's where I felt like myself again.
Nice.
Like getting a good run of games. We had a good run in the Open Cup, which me and Ben played a big part in. That was really good, and I think like the resources, atmosphere in India are really good. So
it's a good club, it's a well-run club.
Yeah. It was nice to get back to that because like we all know in Miami, it's not the most fans.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it can be a rough environment to play in.
Yeah. So it was nice to get back to that, and we had a good year. Like I had a good run of games, and that's really all you can ask for after getting traded. Yeah, like 5 games in.
Yeah. Free agent again though. I assume you just had like an option that Indy didn't pick up, or you were just out of contract. Yeah. So then free agent yet again. Agents making calls. You end up at Loudoun, so back in the Northeast after a little bit of a journey across the U.S. And this is where it seems like you really kind of found your feet again. Last year was a real career year for you. 33 appearances, 4 goals, 10 assists. Obviously, Loudoun were very good last year, and you guys seem to have a good group. What you talked about earlier with having a good group of guys that are all really together. From the outside looking in last year, watching that, especially at the beginning of the year when you guys were so hot, it seemed like that was the type of group you had that was just like really together.
Yeah, me and Tommy McCabe were with each other in Orange County, and then obviously land back together in Loudoun, and we talked about that all the time. Of like we got the same feeling of that Orange County group from that Loudoun group. I think there was definitely that feeling of like we can do something, like do something big this year.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. Like, we got bounced first round in the playoffs, but, I think
it tends to be how it goes. It doesn't take away from the fact that you had a really good team. Like, it is at the end of the game, like, you can't evaluate how good a team was by whether they got bounced in the first round of playoffs. Like, no one is contesting last year that Louisville were the best team in the league, and they got bounced in the first round. Yeah. It happens, know, so.
100%.
Yeah.
And I think, you kind of look at Loudoun's history before that year. I mean, 11th, 12th, 10th, maybe.
Absolutely.
For us to, we were fighting for a home playoff game in the last game of the season. To not get that was tough, but to be in that position for the club that was, had historically never even been close to looking at that. Yeah. It was a good feeling and something to be proud of.
Yeah, I think Lights fans will really identify with that. Like that was the 2024 season for us when this club had never made the playoffs since it was founded in 2018, and then that 2024 team was like fighting for the 1 seed close to the end of the year, and then made a run to the Western Conference Final, and so yeah, that that journey and that project for a lot of fans listening to this pod will be very familiar. And it's pretty special to be a part of a group like that.
Yeah,
To,
100%.
like, bring success to a club that has not had it.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think you look at the guys from that team as well. Like, a lot of them left, which is tough for Loudon. But, like, where those guys have gone is they've gone on to, again, we're talking about money, but they got bigger contracts.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
They're off to great clubs. Like Hugo getting to, sign for Louisville was, like such a big deal for all of us.
Yeah.
Like Giannis Learman in Tampa. A couple guys followed Ryan Martin to Oakland, and it's like, that's what that group was fighting for was, because I think in terms of resources, Loudon wasn't the greatest, but we all talked about, like, look, we want the best for everyone next year. We want, guys to be comfortable and, be able to take care of their families and, without having the stress of, like, you guys got 2 kids, like, that's a tough situation to be in.
Yeah, of course.
So I think we accomplished that too, and I think that was something to be proud of.
Yeah. A little preview to Oakland after Sacramento. That's our next game because we've got a bye week, but then we play them away on a Wednesday. What's Ryan Martin like as a head coach? What do you expect from that away game in Oakland playing against him?
Ryan's a great guy. I don't think I have anything bad to say about anyone at Loudon.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan is, good coach. Like, everything was very organized. I know, like, they like to press. And they've got some good players, and I think I think Florian Villa will be back for that one. He's a good friend of mine, and he's a really good player.
A little Red Bull connection there.
Yeah, I mean, Red Bull, we were at Cincy together. He was living in my apartment in Cincy.
While
I was on loan
I didn't realize there was that much of a connection. Yeah.
Well, I was when I got loaned out to Orange County.
He took your apartment. Yeah, I got you.
Miami and then Loudon as well. So,
wow.
Yeah, we've, kind of tag you're it.
Yeah, of course.
For the past 10 years. But they'll be a good team.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's any team in this league that I'd say this should be an easy game for us.
The margins are so thin in this league, and I think especially in the Western Conference this year. I don't think there's a single team in the West that you're like, oh yeah, that's going to be like a walk in the park. Yeah. Nor is there a team where you're like, oh, that team's going to run away with the top of the West. I was going to say,
like, the only team you could think of that in the past couple of years is Louisville, because they've just been so successful in regular season.
Sure.
But even then, you come up like Charleston plays them last week and beats them 2-0 at their place. Like, it's not. There's no game that isn't winnable. So I think once you kind of realize that, because they're, teams have good players.
Yeah.
But we got good players too. So, it's kind of just like, shouldn't be afraid of anything here.
Yeah. And it goes back to your point at the very beginning of the pod talking about grinding results out. The margins are so thin in this league, and everyone does have a chance. Sometimes you just got to put your head down and get a result. You just got to get it done. There's not as much disparity where you're like, oh, we could really play some good football today and blow these guys off the field 5-0. Like, that doesn't happen as much in this league. So yeah, it's just so much more of a grind. Okay, let's wrap up here because we've been talking for over an hour now at this point. And we burned some time off the front talking about nerd culture, which I will always make time for. But I always wrap up, and we were joking about how long this was going to take because you have so many stops and because your career has been so meandering. But I ask everyone this at the end of the pod. Now that you've kind of reflected back on your entire career, talked through all these stops, talked through some major experiences, what do you think the one experience was that has affected you the most or made you into the person or player you are today?
I mean, we kind of talked about it already, but I think that off season of 19 to 20, that's where I feel like I really matured and kind of became who I am. I think the moment that was my end of year meeting, because we have all of every guy meets with the head coach and the GM at the end of the year, and you talk about the year or whatever, and then go on to the next one. When I went into that meeting, like the GM and head coach basically just said, like, hey, like, you got 1 year left on your contract, like, you need to do something to stay on this team next year. And it was like in that moment where I was like, oh crap, like this is real. Like, and
the professional soccer world got really real really fast.
Yeah, and that's where I was, kind of just like that feeling of no one's coming to help you. Like that's the the two highest guys at the club saying, look, you gotta get it together. And that was like a really surreal moment for me. But it also, in that off season were some of the best moments that I've made with my friends of just grinding and working and misery loves company, where like me and one of my best friends, we were training every day for like 3 months straight together, and some days were just like you felt terrible, like you're so sore, like we'd been going for so long, but it was just kind of pushing each other, and like that, those are the moments you remember. So I'd say that moment of that meeting kind of ignited all of that. But I feel like that's a big moment of my life of, this is it. And this is, this is a man's game, and this is the real world.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. I think that's really insightful. Well, Ben, thank you so much for spending so much time with us in the lounge today. Really fascinating career, and we'll always have you on. Maybe we'll get you, Carver, and Nate, or whoever on to just talk the year in movies at the end of the year, and we'll do a low culture pod. But best of luck on Saturday. You can catch Ben and the rest of the team on the field here at Cashman Field this Saturday, April 11th, against Sacramento Republic FC for Canaan's Cashman Night. Bring the dogs, and we will see you here at the stadium.